Well, thank you for your time, for volunteering to tell me about your story, why you're here, and all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to learning more about who you are.
Okay, well, I'm
Thank
learning.
you for
Look, I'm
doing
looking forward to
the
telling you more about
podcast.
who I am.
So let's start there. Tell me about yourself. Who are you? Who is JJ Winston?
JJ Winston is someone who loves mental health, who loves working with behavioral health individuals and communities and uh, agencies. For 19 years, I was the client rights officer at the Cuyahoga County Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Board, where I was the advocate, also called the client rights officer. I am a licensed independent social worker with supervisory designation, and I'm also an attorney. So I represented clients who had grievances and complaints against our drug and alcohol and mental health agencies and adult care homes. So I really did love that job. But now I'm a magistrate in domestic relations court.
What is a magistrate?
I'm a
Because
judge.
a judge. When I was finished reading your story, I said, this woman is a goat.
I'm a what?
Goat. You never heard
Oh,
that?
a goat. Oh, I love to be referred to as a goat. Thank you. I'm
I said,
trying, girl.
yes. I said, she is a goat. Just I felt the heat come off the page at certain places, in your story. And when
Thank
I
you.
was finished with it, I was like, "Yeah, she's a goat." And now to hear you talk about all these things and that you've accomplished, I'm like, "Yeah, it's confirmed. She's a goat."
Thank you so much. I just really, as a magistrate judge, I'm not allowed to advocate for people. I work in domestic relations court, and that basically is divorce. I work for the Honorable Tanya R. Jones. She's the first African American judge in the history of our court, and I've been there for 7 years. And I work on the post decree docket, which basically means I deal with everything on her docket after the divorce.
Mm.
90% of my docket is custody. I take this job as serious as well because a lot of the young people that we're working with, they develop mental health issues due to the trauma of divorce. And when I worked in mental health and be previous to going to the Adams Board, I also have been a social worker for years. I worked in foster care and adoptions. I work with teen felons. I just care about families and I care about our communities. And
That's
so I just want to do my part in the world to just try to help us all do better.
that's awesome. As you're talking, I'm like, we need to have a side conversation just about your journey and how you've gotten to where you are professionally.
I would
As
love
a
to do
black
that.
woman as a
Yeah.
black woman, so what made you wanna tell a story and speak up against stigma?
Well, I saw a solicitation on Facebook or something. And, I just thought it'd be a really good idea to advance my message of trying to make sure that people know that they have rights and that they should never be afraid to stand up for themselves if they're being mistreated or if somebody's doing something to them. When I worked at the Adams Board, I saw many, many cases of people who were abused, neglected, assaulted. And when they said something, they were not believed. And they were afraid sometimes to say things because of the stigma. People would say, they're crazy. You can't believe them. There's been so many stories or so many different situations where I did go and investigate and found out that what was alleged by my client was true. And I just have a real problem with people getting in this field and not taking care of our clients. If you want to harm our clients, this is not the field for you. And when I would tell people, I will prosecute you or make sure you get prosecuted. So
I love it. So, how was the writing process for you?
Well, the problem I sometimes have, I am a fiction writer. I'm a behavioral health author, and I have two novels in a workbook. My two novels are award winning, they won several awards. I am self published. I have editors who help me because I write, unfortunately, more technical as an attorney, as a person who writes decisions. And even when I worked at the Adams Board, I would still have to write decisions, and it's more technical. So I said, how can I take what I know and use a story that's true with the names that have been, disguised to basically protect the guilty, as I like to say, um, to send a message and to get a message across. So the name of my story is The Golden Rule, and I'm hopeful that when people read it, at the end of it, that they get the moral that I hope is embedded in the story.
Yeah, you've been kind of hitting around, a little bit. So why don't you read a little piece of it just to enlighten others about what you actually wrote about?
Okay. Yesterday, I went to the ABC home to pick up my client for our monthly visit, but the owner refused to let me into the home, and she wouldn't allow my client to leave with me. She said I was banned from her home and that I was no longer my client's case manager. I am concerned for the other residents in the home. If she did this to my client, she is probably doing it to her other residents, who most likely are unaware. She reasoned with sadness in her voice. I think I'll stop there. I hope that's enough.
That's perfect. You know, like I said, when I was finished reading your story that you wrote, I was left with the impression, don't mess with her people because she will get you.
I will.
And, you said that and you're so passionate about the work that you do and it comes across on the page.
Thank you.
You go on in your story to talk about a patient who had a mental health condition and their debit card had went up missing, but it was overlooked because this person had a mental illness,
Absolutely.
and it was that person's, I think it was their care, not, it wasn't the owner, I forget the title that they had, but
Adult
they
care home owner.
essentially they called you to get you involved, and when you
Mhm.
went out to the home you discovered that there was some shenanigans going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you get to the bottom of it, and the like I said, the heat comes off the page, and you can feel that, one, you can't do that.
No.
You shouldn't be doing it anyway, and the fact that now that you're caught, it's like,
Right.
you want to, oh, you gotta read the story
I
and
hope
speak
people
up
do.
against stigma. But it's very powerful, the way that you go into, unfolding the story. And I know we went back and forth a little bit on your edit.
Yes.
Um, but we're in a good place now. Hopefully you
Yes.
feel good about it.
I do. I feel great about it. I thank you and Jackie for all
Yeah,
your hard work on this. I think it's awesome. I think this is a really awesome project, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I like to be as involved as you all would like me to be to make sure that we continue to advance our messages, that we speak up against stigma.
absolutely. Well, this has been incredible. I thank you for sharing your story, for offering your time, and I can't wait until next month. We're just a couple weeks away
Yay.
from the anthology coming out, the second volume of Speak Up Against Stigma. So I'm excited about it and I'm nervous at the same time, but I believe who I believe in, and I believe that everything will be all right.
I think it's
So
going to be wonderful. I think this is great. I know it's a lot of stress and pressure, but you seem to be holding up.
you know what? This is a passion of mine, and I talk about, like yourself, for an example. I have been a business person for most of my life, so
Hmm.
that had been the majority of my writing style,
Hmm.
was in a business, element, and when I became suicidal and depressed, I realized that I had a story to tell,
You do. I'm
but
glad you promoted.
I could not tell that story the way that I will write a business proposal or a business email, so I had to learn how to write creatively,
That's
and
awesome.
I try to take what I've learned, and, I've gone on to school, I'm getting my MFA in
Oh,
creative
wow.
writing, and I'm graduating next year, and I can't tell you
Yay.
how excited I am
I
to
am
be done
excited
with this
too, girl. You
journey.
do it. You do it.
I was looking into PhD programs
Oh,
today,
wonderful. That's
but I want
awesome.
to, yeah, because I just feel like, one, it's not enough women, of Black women that have gotten to the top of, their profession, and I think it's important for more of us
I agree.
to be proactive in our careers,
Yes.
and then also reaching back and saying, "Hey, this is what I did. It wasn't easy," because I believe a lot of times people look at the end result and think that it was easy getting there,
Yes,
and it wasn't. It's hard work. It is perseverance. It
it
is
is.
dedication. It is just knowing where you wanna go to, and
Absolutely.
and then working towards those goals and, your admirations. But I tell you, we gotta have a side
I
conversation.
can't wait to do that because I do want us to do more of that. And I think we're doing well. We're doing better. But we have still a long way to go. And I'm
Absolutely.
glad to see that at one time when I started in my career years ago, no one ever talked about mental health. It was a secret. In particular, in some communities, in my community of color, there were people like, you
Mhm,
don't talk about that. You went through slavery. What you mean? You don't feel right. You
mhm.
suicidal. We're like, what? You depressed. It's important that we're able to talk about these things and that we help each other. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Mm-mm.
All of us got problems. We just got different problems. I tell my daughter, who has sickle cell disease, often, everybody got a cross to pick up and carry. Carry yours. I'll stop with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's amazing that you say that, because I was saying this to someone earlier. It's not fair for someone else to judge me or
Absolutely.
you or
That's
the
right.
next person because we struggle internally differently than they do.
That's right.
And I'm so adamant, just like you, about giving voice to those who don't feel like they have a voice.
Absolutely.
To
And that's
be
why I
able
wanted to do
to,
this
yeah, it's
because I
like,
did feel like it was giving voice to people who don't have one. And that is one of my mantras. I want to stand up for the voiceless and I want to help them find their voice if they lost it.
yes, yes, we're on the same page with that.